What's up, sons? It's Blind Rod with Son of a Tech once again, and welcome to yet another episode of the Crypto Mining Morning Show, your one-stop shop for all crypto news from the perspective of a crypto miner himself, and of course with the audience of crypto miners. So, if you have any crypto mining questions and you're typically in a different portion of the crypto space, shoot them off. Definitely try to save them for the end of the show because I will try to answer questions at the end. Today, we're going to be talking about Vitalik Buterin helping Elon Musk move Dogecoin to proof of stake, as well as RTX 3090 Ti specifications and more details from WCCF Tech through various other outlets, of course, and sources. We also have India edging towards crypto legislation. We'll get into that. And then everybody keeps sending me this. I know if you guys have been around crypto mining long enough, you're aware of this sort of thing happening. But marijuana grow ops, or assumed marijuana grow ops, are actually Bitcoin mining farms, cryptocurrency mining farms. I'm going to cover it just because I have a couple thoughts about it. Then, as always, we will get into the crypto mining profitability for the day. Yesterday was a great day. Finally, some recovery there. Unfortunately, it appears to just be a single kind of outlier day, thanks to, of course, the Bored Apes NFTs that were launched on Sunday or over the weekend. And then we'll cover ASIC mining profitability as well. Be sure, if you enjoy this show, to hit the like, the subscribe, and all of that. And before we get into it, here's an ad from our sponsor. Please use our sponsors so that they keep us on. It's how we keep the lights on, or the one light and the bouncing camera. Today's sponsor is Crypto.com. Crypto.com is my go-to centralized exchange for liquidating my crypto assets. With their Crypto.com Visa debit card, I can load up my mined Ethereum to pay for power and other operating costs quickly while earning up to 8% cash back. In addition to the Visa debit card, there are additional fiat options, including wire transfers, to easily receive your profits. Crypto.com also offers additional services, including trading and even staking, to earn additional revenue on your investments. Join 10 million plus users buying and selling 100 plus cryptocurrencies at true cost by using my affiliate link in the description for a $25 funding bonus. Or enter referral code SOAT at sign up for the same bonus. Remember, cryptocurrency investment comes with significant risks, so do your own research. Boom! Don't forget to use promo code SOAT when signing up for any of our fun stuff, even at GamerSupps. I don't have a Crypto.com shirt yet. I'm going to try to get one. No, what I really want is the rash guard, so I can wear it at jiu-jitsu, because that would be cool. All right, so first things first, let's get into miner changes, updates, releases for today. It's always the same miner, just pushing out releases daily, putting in the work. Team Black Miner version 1.48 launched 19 hours ago. Here are the changes. Light hash rate partial unlocks on the RTX 3050. Improved the ETH proxy implementation, fewer rejected shares, added light hash rate reset counter to output, less CPU usage and more stable light hash rate, add GPU timeout warning in the output for testing purposes. This does beg the question, were the unlocks working great for the RTX 3050 with NB Miner, etc.? And if there are additional unlocks that need to be done in the miner for the 3050, are they now done and working in Team Black Miner? Don't worry, we got a 3050 back here. We are going to download 1.48 and see if we can get more than that 13 to 14 mega hash a second on the RTX 3050 with this particular miner as soon as I have some time. Look, it's crazy, by the way. I'm going to get into that near the end of the show. Just managing to keep this show rolling along with the clipping and updating it's very time consuming. And if anything goes wrong at the farm, like it did yesterday, I am like going full throttle all day until I go to bed. But that's the nature of the beast. That's why we get to do this wonderful content creation for you guys. So I'm very appreciative of the opportunity to work this much on something I enjoy. Let's talk about Vitalik Buterin. Confirms he's assisting in Dogecoin's proof of stake transition. This is from a little bit ago, actually, but I know people wanted to talk about it. So we're going to this was only posted 3 hours ago, but I believe this clip is from earlier. So anyways, what we got here is from cryptonews.net. It was tweeted at me, and I forgot the name. I'm sorry. Thanks for tweeting it at me. So basically, the community helping out with the news topics for the day. But here we go. The proof of stake network is becoming increasingly adopted among major cryptocurrencies, with more and more actively transitioning to it. Almost every major cryptocurrency now has a plan to transition to proof of stake, according to Ethereum founder Vitalik Buterin, who revealed in a recent interview with Up Only, there we go, that Dogecoin, Doge, also aims to transition to a proof of stake network with community staking. The Ethereum founder said, quote, "Every major cryptocurrency except for one has an active plan to move to proof of stake. I guess the arguments will be even easier to make once you know Ethereum is proof of stake and once you know Dogecoin's plans are further along and Zcash plans further along." So essentially what we're getting here is like a couple hints. We got Dogecoin moving proof of stake and Zcash moving proof of stake. That's what we can gather from this quote, at least from Mr. Vitalik Buterin himself. And the keys there, of course, is that he's probably more in the know about what would be moving to proof of stake and what wouldn't than a lot of people. So I'll kind of take his word for it at this point. I have not really been into Zcash or Dogecoin. Zcash maybe early on, of course, before it went essentially all ASIC and kind of got flooded from that perspective. And then I was kind of not interested in it as much anymore. And then Dogecoin, I've personally never been that interested in. Obviously, with its profitability over the past year on the L3 pluses, it was one to merge mine. What I appreciated out of that is merge mining allowed me to get some Litecoin, which I actually like, but also remain profitable by selling the Dogecoin that was being mined at the same time and paying all the stuff to basically do it, and then stacking a little bit of Litecoin. That's what I was doing there. What I like about Litecoin is, of course, its fast transactions and low fees just for transferring funds around, and it's kind of ubiquitous, right? So the interesting thing, and I know like I'm going to sound like a Litecoin shill here, but because it's accepted almost everywhere across all platforms, and because it's really quick and easy to send, it's just kind of my go-to for like, oh, I need to move funds from X exchange to Y exchange. Just flip it into Litecoin and shoot it over. It seems to always work. So that's kind of why I like Litecoin. I'll definitely probably try to continue to support the network with a few little L3 pluses that I do have once, of course, even if Dogecoin goes proof of stake. But there you go. Buterin referenced a proposal published on Christmas last year, which outlined a strategy to execute the Doge proposal for a community staking version of proof of stake, which would let more individuals participate in managing the Dogecoin network. Quote, "They recently released something, the Dogecoin Foundation, in collaboration with Vitalik Buterin, to create community staking. It got published last year at Christmas time." End quote. The proposal for proof of stake. Furthermore, the Dogecoin Foundation stated at the time that it was working with Vitalik on crafting a proposal that would, quote, "allow everyone, not just the big players, to participate in a way that rewards them for contribution to running the network, and at the same time gives back the whole community through charitable causes," end quote. It's worth mentioning this because Buterin serves as an advisor to the Dogecoin Foundation, alongside Billy Marcus, the co-creator of Doge, and Jared Birchall, who represents Tesla CEO Elon Musk's legal and financial interests. Notably, Tesla recently made some of its merch buyable with Dogecoin. Finbold reported last year that Vitalik Buterin hoped Dogecoin would move proof of stake consensus method with the aid of Ethereum's technology as soon as possible. He also suggested an ETH Doge bridge, which he believes would accelerate the transaction speeds on the Doge blockchain. I mean, obviously, the end part there is good. Bridging is great. Interoperability, which I'll still never pronounce because I have a mush southern brain. That's just how it works. For whatever reason, I can't do it. But that's good news. As far as Dogecoin moving proof of stake, no, you don't want it. I would get out of Dogecoin as quickly as possible. Let's go ahead and pull up the Dogecoin rich list here for you guys to demonstrate the problem with that. All right, let me see if I can find here's the top 100. Let's just dig into this real quick. Just so you guys get an idea of why I'm like, All right, so here's the rich list for you. There we go. Is this the Dogecoin? Yeah, Dogecoin holders. Number one address controls 23% of the total supply of Dogecoin in existence. And it has for a long time. A long time. And what happens when you move proof of stake? What happens when you move proof of stake? What do? You take a portion of the cryptocurrency and you lock it up and you validate transactions with the amount of cryptocurrency you control. So, what's the potential if you have 23% of the entire supply of a coin and it moves proof of stake? You can basically verify 25% of the transactions on the network, theoretically. Of course, there's luck and other things involved, right? But this isn't good. This isn't good at all. And you should be very cautious when a coin that has this much in one wallet wants to move to proof of stake. But, you know, we have the same problem with Ethereum too, and people aren't questioning these things. Start questioning these things. It's not good. It moves cryptocurrency in the wrong direction. Now, there is something they noted that is interesting, and I wonder how it would be implemented, but allow everyone, not just big players, to participate in a way that rewards them for their contribution to running the network, and at the same time gives back to the community through charitable causes. Is there a way, right, to basically run proof of stake in a manner that allows people with less holdings to compete on solving blocks? And if there is, hopefully that's what they're referencing, because that's what would need to happen for this to not be a complete disaster to the Dogecoin network. It's already questionable as it stands, right? Dogecoin in general, it's already questionable as it currently sits. Maybe it's Elon that has that number one wallet though. And then maybe we're okay. I don't know. Maybe he doesn't do anything with it. Maybe we get airdrop supply drops, you know, from Elon himself. I'm just making stuff up right now. I'm making stuff up. Do not take any of that last part seriously. Let's go ahead and move on to a more interesting topic for the crypto mining crew and tech heads in general. NVIDIA GeForce RTX 3090 Ti graphics card specs, performance, price, and availability. Everything you need to know. And this is coming from WCCF Tech, your number one supplier of tech rumors. Here we go. This is by Hassan. And it basically goes on to say, NVIDIA GeForce RTX 3090 Ti is going to be a behemoth, the flagship, the ultimate graphics card from the green team. And here's everything from specs, price, performance that you need to know. The NVIDIA GeForce RTX 3090 Ti graphics card is the ultimate graphics card that the green team will have to offer. Based on its Ampere architecture, the card is ultimate in every sense: graphics, performance, power, pricing. It is just designed for the ultimate enthusiast gamers out there, and considering what Nvidia has teased about this card, it's sure to going to be a one-of-a-kind beast. Nvidia designed the GeForce RTX 3090 Ti not just for the ultimate gamer, but also for the professional content creators too, as well as those dirty crypto miners. Let's go on. Who want to have the best graphics performance at hand to power the next generation of AAA gaming and Ethereum mining with the superb visuals and insane fluidity, or the flux mining, right? Because that little partnership going on. It's not just the FPS that matters these days, it's visuals and a smoother frame rate too. And this is exactly what the GeForce RTX 30 series is made to excel at. Marvels of the Ampere architecture, second generation RTX, enabling blistering performance of new RTX 30 series GPUs, and the NVIDIA Ampere architecture are cutting-edge technologies and over 2 decades of graphics R&D, including new streaming multiprocessors, the building block for the world's fastest, most efficient GPU, delivering 2 times the FP32 throughput of the previous generation and 40 shader teraflops of processing power. We have second generation ray tracing cores, 78 ray tracing teraflops of processing power, 3rd gen tensor cores with 2 times the throughput of previous generation, making it faster and more efficient to run AI powered technologies like DLSS, and 320 tensor teraflops of processing power. NVIDIA RTX 10 enables rapid GPU-based loading and game asset decompression, accelerating input and output performance by up to 100 times compared with hard drives and traditional storage APIs. World's fastest graphics memory. This is important for the mining, the most important part. NVIDIA has worked with Micron to create the world's fastest discrete graphics memory for the RTX 30 series cards, GDDR6X. It provides data speeds of up to 1 terabyte a second system memory bandwidth for graphics cards applications, maximizing game and app performance. Of course, that one is going to be the big deal. No matter what, I definitely want to get my hands on one to test, because it should, in theory, be, at least from the consumer grade graphics line, the best performing mining GPU to launch. Of course, HBM2 is going to be a little bit better, more efficient, etc. But those usually come in more of the workstation graphics cards, professional graphics cards that are also at a more of a price premium. This one's going to be at a crazy price premium though too. But you would probably want to lean towards those A2000, 4000 GPUs over this in theory. But if the NVIDIA GeForce RTX 3090 Ti isn't your thing and way out of your budget plans, there's also the entry level 3050. We already covered that on the channel. Definitely go check those out. So at this point, what we have is a GPU based on Samsung's 8 nanometer custom process with 28 billion transistors, and it's 628 millimeters squared, which makes it the second biggest gaming GPU ever produced, right below the Turing TU102 GPU, which powered the 2080 Ti and the Titan RTX. The new shader core on the NVIDIA Ampere architecture is 2.7 times faster. So there you go there. And let's see what others we got here. I think pretty much we know all of this at this point. The base clock speed of 1560 megahertz and a boost clock speed of 1860 megahertz. And it has a 450 watt TDP. That's 100 watts more than the 3090. You can't even run this in a mining rig without it burning up. I mean, come on. This is just ridiculous. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. If each one of those are 1, then we would have them on the back side too. In terms of the memory, the GeForce RTX 3090 Ti comes packed with 24 gigabytes of memory and that too the next generation GDDR6X design. With Micron's latest and greatest graphics memory dies, the RTX 3090 Ti can deliver GDDR6X memory speeds of 21 gigabits per second. That, along with a bus interface of 384-bit, will deliver a cumulative bandwidth of 1008 gigabits per second. That can't be right. Isn't it gigabytes a second? They just messed up with the little b, big B. Little b, big B. The NVIDIA GeForce RTX 3090 Ti graphics card is also rumored to be the first Gen 5 compliant graphics card, rocking a single 16-pin power connector that can supply up to 600 watts of power to the card. Oh my gosh. You can see that the connector is rated for 600 watts power delivery, is the PCIe Gen 5 compatible and not designed for legacy Gen 2 or Gen 3 cards. Oh, so you can pretty much run PCI Gen 5 or Gen 4. Is that, oh my God, this is just going to be a terrible card. This is like awful, complete opposite direction. This reminds me of AMD after they took over ATI and they didn't really have a roadmap left, and they were like, more power, burn it up, boys. I feel like NVIDIA feels like they're behind. Why else would you be just adding more power? That sort of thing, that usually means you're falling behind. But the rumors on the 4000 series, like RTX 4000, is that we're going to get like double to quadruple at the top end. This is just weird. Here's the power connector. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Thought I said it was going to be 16. Okay, currently it's an ongoing debate internally at several AIBs whether to feature the PCIe Gen 5 connector like NVIDIA's Founder Edition or go with a standard 8-pin connectors. We'll see. As for its feature set, the NVIDIA GeForce RTX 3090 Ti graphics card rocks all the modern NVIDIA feature set, and there you go. And if we compare that, of course, over here to the 3090 Ti, little differences, a few more CUDA cores, a little bit more TMUs and ROPs, just a few more tensor cores, 2 more ray tracing cores. The base clock is up 160 megahertz. The boost clock is up 160 megahertz. The FP32 compute is up 3 or 4 teraflops. The ray tracing is up 5 teraflops, or ray tracing flops or whatever. Ray tracing teraflops. Blah blah. Let's see. We don't have tensors. Memory capacity is the same. However, the memory speed is supposed to run at 21 gigabits per second. One of the important parts here, or notes, is that hopefully on the board, if you buy it, the first party boards coming directly from NVIDIA, hopefully they have cooling these memory modules off figured out. I'm assuming they do, and that's why they're able to hit the full speed of the GDDR6X memory of 21 gigabits per second. Most likely, a lot of the AIBs, if the 3090 is anything to work off of, are not going to have this figured out. And it's probably very advisable to purchase the Founders Edition of the 3090 Ti, primarily because they hopefully have this figured out. Remember, they paused manufacturing on these because of hardware failures, BIOS issues, etc. I'm willing to bet the hardware issue was overheating memory. I'm willing to bet that, okay? And hopefully they actually resolved it. But these cards have the highest potential, in my humble opinion, to brick on release. I'm just saying, They already paused production. There was clearly something wrong. This is akin to like the Xbox 360 release with the red ring of death. There's probably pallets of RTX 3090 Ti's that are just dead, that they're trying to figure out how to fix. I'd be scared to, and I'll buy one for the channel, but I'd be scared, like as a consumer, to purchase one of these on day one. I just would. I have very low confidence. The amount of power going through it, the increase in the memory speeds, the pause of the production, this just looks like a train wreck waiting to happen. This looks like a $6,000 GPU that bricks in the first week. That's what it feels like to me, especially with the current market. Like, I'm good, bro. I'll go buy an A6. Yeah, so yep, that's where I'm at. Let's go ahead and talk about India edging towards crypto legislation. This is coming from CoinDesk. India edges towards crypto legislation with a 30% tax, announcing digital rupee launch. India Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman, I can't do it. I'm sorry. I'm not Indian. I should, I go back to the mush Southern brain, guys. Presented the nation's budget in a speech in Parliament on Tuesday. I should have done the Google the name and learn how to pronounce it thing. So the India Finance Minister announced a 30% tax on any income from the transfer of virtual digital assets, a first for the nation. Additionally, she also said that the digital rupee would most likely be issued in the 2022 to 2023 area, which is the first time the Indian government has given a timeline on the launch of a central bank digital currency, CBDC. These are going to be big, guys. We're going to have to pay attention to a lot of central bank digital currencies. And to be clear, central bank digital currencies are completely against the principles of cryptocurrency, Bitcoin itself. So I'm not for them, just to be clear, but it is something that's going to happen. So we're going to cover it. There's no way around it. Most of it will probably be some sort of proof of stake mechanism with zero supply cap, so they can adjust the currency however they see fit and just digitally print themselves some more. That's how these are going to operate, but let's move on. Quote, there has been a phenomenal increase in transaction in virtual digital assets. The magnitude and frequency of these transactions have made it imperative to provide for a specific tax regime. The financial advisor said in the critical Indian budget speech, which lasted for over 2 hours. Speaking on the adoption of CBDCs, she said that a digital rupee will be issued using blockchain and other technologies to be issued by RBI starting 2022 to 2023. This will give a boost to the economy. When asked later on about taxing without a regulation, the finance minister said, we have circulated a paper, inputs are coming in, public stakeholders are coming in, so regulation goes through that process. I don't wait till regulation comes into place taxing people who are earning profits, can I? I don't understand that whole statement. We have circulated. The world's crypto or cryptocurrency was not used in the budget speech. However, the finance minister used the phrase virtual digital asset, which the industry interprets as a term for cryptocurrencies and non-fungible tokens. The naming and the steps taken are not clear legislation of crypto, but the industry views this as a step towards legitimization. Quote, India is finally on the path to legitimizing the crypto sector in India, end quote, said Nishal Shetty, co-founder and CEO of Wazirx, one of India's largest crypto exchanges. Shetty said the move to launch a blockchain-powered digital rupee is phenomenal, as it will pave the way for crypto adoption, and that the biggest development was the clarity on crypto taxation, which will add the much-needed recognition to the crypto ecosystem of India. Sumit Gupta, co-founder and CEO of CoinDCX, called the budget forward-looking and inspirational, adding that the taxation is a step in the right direction. Siddharth Sagani, founder and CEO of cryptocurrency research organization Krabaco, I don't even know how that would be pronounced actually, said you can't tax something which is illegal. Hence, this is a very positive move by the government and is very good for the industry. If there are tax clarities in the space, more money is likely to come in. Incorrect. You can tax something that is legal. The IRS does it, and that is the number one way basically they catch criminals. And essentially, if you steal something, anything you've stolen, you are supposed to report the amount of stolen items on your taxes. That's a thing that's been around for a long time. So it's incorrect. You can tax illegal activity, and that's usually, at least in the United States, one of the number one ways that people get caught in illegal activity and get prosecuted. They usually get prosecuted along those lines. So that's silly. You can tax things that are illegal. It's been done. Okay? Incorrect, sir. Could crypto tax push away retail investors? The concern among some experts is that 30% tax could deter retail investors. Quote, there might be movement in people liquidating their crypto portfolios and moving to the equity market. The 30% tax is too much, said a source at a major crypto exchange wishing not to be named. Shivam Thakral, CEO of Ucoin, disagrees, saying the tax is normal and not too high, and is in line with the normal taxation in which, quote, if you are earning personal income of more than 12 lakh per annum, golly, okay, then you are in the 30% slab anyways. The questionable part here that a lot of people are arguing, and I saw this on CoinDesk for their live stream earlier today, this morning, and a lot of what's going on crypto is that why isn't there tax brackets in India? And I am actually in support of no tax brackets, personally. I think if you're going to have a tax, it should be a flat tax, and you should make the people at the top pay the same percentages as the people at the bottom. And then the goal there would make the tax, whatever tax you're paying, not burdensome on the people at the bottom. That is typically how I would see it going through personally. I don't have any problem with a 30% tax across everybody, or the same percentage. 30% is very high though, right? And like, I don't think retail investors in India are going to be like, yeah, this makes sense to have a 30% tax on an investment. Like, probably not. Plus, how do you file losses, all that sort of stuff? I'm not really too clear. I'm also not a policy guy, so probably speaking a little out of turn. Another industry source who didn't wish to be named highlighted a contradiction in the government's statements. In the past, the government has said it seeks to prohibit all cryptocurrencies in India, but will allow certain exceptions to promote underlying technology. Well, how will you promote the underlying technology with a 30% tax, end quote, asked the industry source from a major exchange. And this is a good point. If you're going to just throw a blanket 30% tax across cryptocurrency and then expect developers to develop on the platforms, but then they're having to pay a 30% tax on the tokens they're purchasing to enable whatever technology that they're doing, then you just basically chop their legs out from underneath them. You're not going to have developers being like, oh yeah, I think I'll go into developing for blockchain and purchase some Ethereum that I didn't have to pay 30% on, that I'm probably going to lose in this entire process of development, because that's how development works. Like, we're not going to be making money every single time off of these projects where we're trying to develop the technology. So it completely cuts out any innovation within that space because of the way it functions for the underlying technologies when we're talking about these things, right? Take Flux, for example. If you're developing on Web 3.0 and you're deploying apps, etc., what if and you go to deploy a VPS, for lack of a better term, an app on Flux, and you pay the Flux, and then you have to pay 30% on that Flux that you purchased on top of that. It doesn't make any sense. You're not gonna get development, and that's a good point, right? Like, it doesn't make any sense. You need to have, and that's where I would not necessarily have a bracket, but I would have essentially just a whole different tax clause set for developers and people working on the technology, if that was my goal, right? If that was my goal. Prima facie self-declaration of crypto ownership and tax filing is a progressive move that displays the government's conviction in monitoring, validating, and regulating the evolution of crypto economy, according to Gaurav Mehta, founder of Catix, a one-stop shop for crypto taxes, blockchain auditing, and forensics. The Reserve Bank of India, India's central bank, had earlier indicated launching a pilot CBDC project in the fiscal year April 2022 to March of 2023. India's crypto ecosystem has several demands, which included a classification of cryptocurrencies, clarity on taxation, and a self-regulating framework shaped by the crypto industry. While clarity on taxation has emerged, the formal classification of cryptocurrency is awaited. The country appears to be waiting for global consensus on crypto regulation. Earlier this year, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has called for global cooperation of cryptocurrencies. Modi said that challenges like crypto cannot be tackled by nations in isolation. Last year, he told Parliament that, quote, a new cryptocurrency bill is in the works, warning that, quote, the risk of cryptocurrency and it going in the wrong hands is being monitored. What are the wrong hands? What are the wrong hands? What does a 30% tax bracket do? They even said it here. Let's call them out on this BS. They're saying you're already in a higher tax bracket. What are the wrong hands? The wrong hands are the people that can't afford a 30% tax on their investment. That's the wrong hands. That's what they're saying with this legislation. Pay attention. They give it all to us right here. They give it all to us. They tell us exactly what they think. 30% tax? Oh, that won't faze the rich people. That won't faze us, the government. We'll just print more of our CBDC. Who are the wrong people? The wrong people are poor people. That's what the wrong people are. That's the view of governments right now. And they keep saying it. They're like basically just telling us this at this point. You're not good enough. So frustrating, man. So frustrating. All right. Let's go ahead and talk about marijuana plant raid sees authorities find crypto mining farm instead. These things have happened a lot. A lot of people get super excited and find these stories really funny. I see these stories a lot, but you know, there's another one, so we'll go ahead and cover it. This is being reported by Tweaktown, and I think like the reason it's not being reported by typical cryptocurrency outlets is because it's all too familiar. I do have a couple thoughts on it though. So marijuana plant raid sees authorities find crypto mining farm instead. Your day starts out by preparing for a raid on a dangerous facility where you're about to bust the doors down on an illegal marijuana farm. Oh, so dangerous. You're going to go bust a bunch of potheads. Oh, so scary. Oh, stupid. But then the doors get kicked down and all you hear is the buzzing of a bunch of computers running instead. That's what happened when the Spanish National Police discovered massive amounts of electricity being used, but the facility was illegally hooked up to the electricity grid. Once authorities were there, they discovered it wasn't a weed farm, but a crypto farm instead. Spanish National Police explained through machine translation, police investigations began on a possible indoor marijuana plantation that could be located in some stables located in Santa Ponce. After carrying out the first inquiries, the agents realized that the existing indications did not correspond to the cultivation of marijuana, but rather that these facilities could be hosting a cryptocurrency farm of which there are hardly any records in Spain. End quote. There was around $50,000 in euro, around 55,800 US that was seized, with profits sitting at around 2,500 euro. $2,800 per month. So not even a big operation. My operation's bigger. Not to brag, you know what I mean? Not to brag, but I mean, we're doing a little better than these guys and we're not stealing power. But the big issue here is a couple things, right? Like, one is that from the cryptocurrency miners' perspective, they're stealing power. Not good. You're going to get caught there eventually, because cryptocurrency mining requires a lot of power. So, you know what gets monitored all the time? Guys go by and they check the meters and they write the power down. If they're like, wow, this is like a lot of power, what's going on here? There's two ways that essentially right now, I guess, intelligence agencies find essentially grow farms for marijuana or whatever it may be. And that is primarily going to be heat indicators, where they'll use some sort of infrared technology to scan buildings. And then if they see a concentrated, concentrated pattern of heat being expelled from a certain building, that may be put onto the map. Or in addition, they may be tracking the amount of power. One of these is reasonable, one of them is not, in my opinion. This is kind of what I wanted to get into. One is the power, right? If you're stealing power, whether you're growing marijuana, mining cryptocurrency, whatever it may be, that's not good. Like, that needs to be covered in costs. Yes, power companies may be charging you too much. You may not be happy about that, but like, at the end of the day, that is a commodity that's being sold. If you are taking it and not paying for it, it is stolen. That is going to be tracked. It's a completely reasonable thing to basically throw a red flag. Should there be raids in the case of your power company, or of you stealing power? Not necessarily. Maybe find the owner of the building, figure out what's going on, and then go from there. I don't think that raids are necessarily needed. The second one, where they're actually like scanning for infrared and like finding hotspots and then raiding buildings based on that because they think they're grow operations. No, the government should not be monitoring and raiding buildings based on heat output from the building. Unless of course it's causing a fire or some sort of danger. If it's causing no harm, there should be no reason to basically have this kind of heavy hand. And that's in regards to crypto mining or growing drugs. Whatever it is. I personally am kind of on the fence of like, I think the drug war is completely ridiculous. I think it's a waste of money. It's an invasion of privacy and security. And it's basically telling grown adults that they're not allowed to do something. Look, that's just as bad as anything else, in my humble opinion. So that's how I feel about it. They shouldn't, like, unless it's directly impacting somebody else, they need to get out of it. So that's how I feel about it. I don't like the way that they find them. But also in this regard, I think that it could have been executed better. Why are they just raiding? Why aren't they doing more information hunting? Why are they not, talking to the landlord or whoever owns the property first? What is this? This is ridiculous. All right. That's how I feel. I got a lot of 1099s coming in today. How about y'all? I hope the mining farm gets recovered here soon. Let's go ahead and take a look at profitability for the month, or for the day, excuse me. My current hash rate is down. We're down to like 5 gigahash. It's like reporting 5.5 in Hive OS. I really need to get in there and start working on some ventilation. I'm definitely having some issues. I had a fan die as well on one of my 5700s, and it was overheating, which is causing a rig to stay offline. I did fix that yesterday. Anyways, though, outside of that, and my stale shares are high, 1.89%, which is not great. But we are technically up in USD value, down obviously in ETH over last week. Yesterday was a really great day. Actually, the whole weekend was great because a lot of fees were going through thanks to the Bored Ape NFT stuff. So yesterday we did like 0.1 ETH, which was the best we've done in forever. And that was like $260 equivalent in US. And today's it's calmed down. So it is what it is. Like I said, I have some more stuff to do. Let's go ahead and take a look at mining profitability for the RTX 3090. You have ETH at $3.73 a day after power of 10 cents a kilowatt hour. And then let's go ahead and adjust the Zell hash out to realistically what it's supposed to be, because it never does that. We got Ycash, which is Equihash 0 algorithm, interestingly enough, at $3.05 a day after power, Tent at $2.54 a day after power, and Flux at $2.21 a day after power. Conflux at $2.02 a day after power. Cero has dropped down pretty far. Rio still a dead coin as far as I'm aware. Cortex at $1.92 a day after power. And Ravencoin all the way down here at $1.58 a day after power. Ergo even actually above that at $1.70 a day after power because it's more efficient. So really even Ergo would be better than Ravencoin. Let's take a look at the 2080 Ti, which I forgot to look at yesterday because it does typically perform better on Flux. However, no, but interestingly enough, by a penny here, we are looking at Ycash being in number one. This is one I guess we'll have to go ahead and take a look at because I'm not sure exactly what's going on with that. Ethereum is $1.74 a day after power on the 2080 Ti. And Flux is actually $1.45 a day after power on the 2080 Ti. So there you go. If we take a look at AMD Polaris GPUs, I think it gets kind of depressing. It's probably just going to be Ethereum and Firo, 89 cents a day after power on Ethereum. If that merges, those Polaris cards are looking awfully terrible at 37 cents a day after power on Firo. Ravencoin's not much better at 26 cents a day after power on Firo. What are we learning here? We're learning that the likelihood of an algorithm performing well for these old AMD cards is very low. That likelihood is very, very low. I even talked, to Daniel Keller from Flux about this. It doesn't seem like Flux actually has actual plans to improve the hash rate for AMD GPUs at all, even though they will appreciate them on the network. That's all sales speak. All right. Here's the problem I see. And we need to be honest about this problem, and everybody needs to be fully aware, right? What's the number one GPUs that are still on the network today? We are talking about Polaris GPUs, RX 470, 480, 570, 580s. We already see large mining farms or larger mining farms like Bitsby Trippin liquidating these Polaris GPUs. There will be a ton more post-merge. You should not be buying RX 500 and 400 series GPUs probably at all. Like, the likelihood of them continuing profitability after the merge is nil. It's too risky. And this is what I'm seeing. This is the trend I'm seeing. It's not financial advice. I'm not going to be buying any Polaris GPUs. This is what I'm going to do. maybe you're okay with it and you're comfortable with it, but especially at the prices right now where they're like $300, not a smart idea. Just, it's a bad idea. It's a bad idea. All right. So let's go ahead and look at any changes in proof of work coins on network hash rate. Bitcoin's at 203 exahash a second and just still at the same difficulty. Take a look at Ethereum. Ethereum did go over 1 petahash a second now, and difficulty climbing. We also see that, of course, Ethereum's been more profitable than Bitcoin for proof of work mining for the past like 7 months in a row. So it's pretty insane. It does beg the question when it moves to proof of stake and all of this wealth generation poof goes away for proof of stake, what actually happens to Ethereum? Like, quite honestly, like, what actually happens to Ethereum when poof, all of that goes away? It can't be good. Like, I just don't see how that's going to be good for Ethereum as a project from a price point. We've talked about it before. The reason we have basically the Bitcoin super cycle is in the past has purely been based on miners. A lot of this price discovery is from miners. We're at highest network hash rate ever. It's still growing as the threat of the merge comes into play. If they move up, what happens, man? This just doesn't something. It feels like the floor is going to fall out from underneath it. I don't know, man. This is just creepy, dude. I don't see how that survives. It's just nuts. Ravencoin, it's still settled in at that 4.5 to 5 terahash a second, and the difficulty is really locked in. So we're good there. Let's take a look at Flux. I know Flux had a dip. It looks like they're still sitting around that 2.25 mega solutions a second, down from 2.5 mega solutions a second. Let's take a look at Ergo. I'm still trying to lock in an interview for EIP 27. Hopefully that's coming this week. They're waiting on a couple more details. GetBlock, though, did have a successful deploy of their smart contract on the test network today. I retweeted that on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter for stuff like that at Son of a Tech, so you get those throughout the day updates. They still have a few pools down and offline, not good, invalid block heights, but the hash rate had dipped down. What was that day again? That was okay. So that was January 31st. Yeah. So this happened yesterday. That dip doesn't look too serious. So from 16.72 to 15.83, 1 terahash off of the network. How much was this down here? No, it was only like mega hash. Is there a specific? I mean, you had Crux pool dip, you had Arctic crypto dip, and you had 666 pool in China dip. Small dip down there. Doesn't look like it appears to be a single pool. All right, and difficulties remaining about the same. All right, let's take a look at crypto mining profitability for Ethereum pools specifically. The last 90 days, Crazy Pool in first, Mining Pool Hub in second, and Flex Pool in third. Last 60 days, Crazy Pool in first, Flex Pool in second, and Mining Pool Hub in third. Last 30 days, Crazy Pool in first, Flex Pool in second, Mining Pool Hub in third. Last 21 days, Crazy Pool in first, Flex Pool in second, Ethermine in third. Last 14 days, Crazy Pool in first, Ethermine in second, Flex Pool in third. Last 7 days, we have Flex Pool in first, Ethermine in second, and Mining Pool Hub in third. For the last 3 days, we have Flex Pool in first, Ethermine in second, and Mining Pool Hub in third. And for the last day, we have Ethermine in first, Nano Pool in second, and Flex Pool in third. ASIC miner profitability, as always, the KD6 is still up there. It's up $1 a day from yesterday to 126.41. Of course, you got the silicons. We don't really cover these because, like we've talked about before, with ETH going to the merge, do you really want to have an ET hash ASIC? Probably not. Gold Shell KD5, $85 a day. Antminer L7. Still don't know if I can actually find one of these, but it'd be awesome. 9,500 mega hash a second on script. Anyways, $56 a day. Gold Shell Handshake coming back into the mix at $28.44 a day. That's probably the most interesting one. Let's look over here real quick. Are there any for sale? I don't see any for sale on BT miners. There's the HS5 in a bundle. You would think if the HS5 is in a bundle, they would have one down here. But I don't see it. All right. And what bundle is this? $31,000. Probably not worth it. All right. What is the S19 Pro looking like today? 1631 a day on Digibyte, but really, what, 1591 a day on Bitcoin? Not looking great. Bitcoin mining revenue is taking a really big hit, boys. Okay, let's get into questions and answers. Alrighty, boys. First things first is always covering the super chats. So I'll get into those. We have Andrew Coburn. Thank you for the $10. Says, I have 20K saved up, free power, but I'm not able to adjust any outlets or install anything for ASICs. I can go low power consumption, but you want to get your opinion on this. You know, you got to figure out a way to scale up. You can start with whatever you want at this point, but like eventually you'd want to have a plan to scale out. Whether that means finding a commercial space or whatever. If you have free power right now, obviously that's good. You can go ahead and build like a couple small rigs, GPU rigs or whatever. Mine with a gaming PC, you could try to find a helium miner. You could try to find, because those are low power. You could get one of the minis, you know, like the mini Doge, I guess, or what would be the most profitable, right? Wouldn't it be that Cadena miner from Gold Shell? Come on. Hold on, I'm pulling it up. There we go. Yeah, wouldn't the KD box be the best bang for your buck, guys? But you're risking that it's Cadena. That's the problem there. So I don't know, man. I don't really have any suggestions because that's a lot of money to invest. All right. Scroll down, make sure I don't miss any more. I think that was the only super chat. I didn't miss a super chat, did I? Okay, I don't think I did. Let's go ahead and scroll down here. If Daemon says that son of a tech, wrong hands means South Asian countries has too much corruption in their system. Yeah. Dorimo says, that son of a tech, do you think Polaris cards are bad even if you got 2 cents a kilowatt hour? Yeah. What are you going to, like, okay. We can plug that into what to mine right here. Right? So we got the 580 in here. 2 cents a kilowatt hour. After ETH, Firo is at 69 cents a day. Raven Coin's at 58 cents a day. Plus all of those 580s moving on to one of those networks. Raven Coin can't handle it. Firo can't handle it. The problem in general is there's way too many Polaris cards on the Ethereum network right now. They've been running on there for ages. I don't see it working out good. Happy Dictator says, will we be phasing out 5,700 cards as we approach the merge? I considered it. It seems super difficult, though. I don't know what I'm going to do with them yet. I haven't decided. We have a super chat here from Forum. Says, what is the lowest model of Bitcoin miner you would recommend to just get used ASICs? Here's what's weird, because I'm not an ASIC guy, but I have contact with 2 different ASIC miners near my mining facility that I've talked to. One has gone like S19 Pros across the board, like 35 of them or something. The other one, who's kind of like not taking out loans. So one's taking out loans, one's not taking out loans, right? The one that's not taking out loans pointed out to me that a majority of the Bitcoin network is still S9s, and he's been getting S9s really cheap and loading out just hundreds of them. So there are a couple different strategies from the ASIC miners that I'm taking a look at. The guy that's doing the S19 Pros is also doing, like, he's going all out, liquid cooling them, all of that, right? And then the other guy is like building some shelves, lining out 1,500 square foot of as many S9s as you can get in there with a couple like S19s or whatnot. Now, it's weird because, like, obviously, if you talk about my area, the power is lower. So that's kind of what he's betting on. But if you look at, like, S9s, let's see if we can get the S9s in here. I mean, at 10 cents a kilowatt hour, they're losing money, right? Yeah. So I don't think that strategy works, but he's making it work somehow. If ASIC guys have kind of like perspective on that, I know it has a lot to do with like power cost. I can tell you that he should be at like worst case, what, 5 cents a kilowatt hour, but I don't think that even that's going to do it. And he would, okay, so that does it, right? That does it. So at our power cost, he pulls in $1 a day per unit. But if we look at pricing, and I don't know where you buy them used cheaper, but I'm sure he's getting them cheaper. The S9 is, I thought they had some here. $8.99. That still seems steep. I mean, if I'm buying S9s, I want them to be $250. That's the S9E. So the S9E SE, 16 terahash, almost $2 a day at my power cost. So yeah, I want to pay like $340 tops for an S9E. That's how much I would pay for an S9E personally, right? But you got to see that like all of this, to do that strategy of buying up everybody's old S9s, you got to have cheap power. I mean, that's really it. And the good news is right now, all the S9s are being forced out. So it's probably possible to pick a bunch up for super cheap. And if you can get good power locked in, you just deploy like 300 of them, make $300 a day for a while. Hope you ROI before all these. I'm assuming really like where you're going to hit, those are going to be phased out once these new Intel miners hit in like 2025. So if you can pay off the S9 by 2025, and then you're just going to be trashing them, and hopefully you saved up enough to buy some newer ones. But once those low voltage miners come online, once Block comes into the competition as well, I'm sure Bitmain will have something new that's going to just destroy these. Those S9s will get phased out. But those are the two strategies that basically I've heard of. The S19 Pro at this power cost is $20 a day. And what is that going to cost you? $11,000. So you make 10 times as much for 10 times the price. I mean, that's kind of the thing, right? Like, unless you get these at like $300, no, like the S19 Pro in comparison just makes more sense. All right. I know I dilly-dallied on that question for a while, but this is something I'm also kind of working into as well. Because I want to get some as well. Thoughts on FutureBit Apollo BTC miner node, 3 terahash a second at 200 watts? I have not heard of it. I'll copy it out and see what it said, what that is, I guess, and try to come up with something. Keeping up with crypto, like the only way I've been able to do it is these live shows. So I'm glad you guys enjoy them because like, honestly, it is extremely difficult to keep up with crypto. And like, I got to the point where I just couldn't make enough videos, and like doing each individual was just going to take way too much work. So this way we can at least get a lot of topics out of the way. My mining rig, 10 GPUs, is made up of older lower end cards, 1060s, 1070s, 1660s, and RX 580. Your ROI is looking like 7 months as of today. Should you be selling the entire thing right now? So obviously not financial advice. You need to do your own research, make your own decisions. I would be super happy with the 1060s, 1070s, and 1660 supers because you can move those to Flux. And the 1070s are some of the best cards on Flux. All of those are good on Flux. You're golden. Get rid of the 580s if you can at the higher price. And that's kind of where I would sit personally. That's what I would do with that rig. I would get rid of the 580s, keep everything else. The 10 series GPUs are going to run good on Flux right now. For sure. Tactics says the show keeps getting better. I'm glad you're enjoying it, man. How many continuous watts can you pull from 125 amp service? Considering load from heavy applications at random in 3 gigahash on ETH and CPUs. So, I mean, you can calculate it out, right? Obviously, like the first thing that you're going to want to do is make sure that you are running 220. And then that's going to increase the amount, because basically you take your amperage and you multiply it times whatever voltage you got. So 125 times 120 is 15,000, right? But 125 times 220, well, that is that right? Oops, 125 times 220 is 27,500. Huge difference. So 220 plugs, that's what you want. That would give you, if you max that out, would be 27,500 watts. You adhere to the 80% rule, so we multiply that times 0.8. You would have a max total capacity of 22,000 watts on 220. If you run, and I don't know if this is a house, if that's 125 amp service to your house and you're powering other appliances, that's going to change the game completely. But if you're only going to be running on 120 plugs, that's 15,000 watts times 0.8 for the 80% rule. That's 12,000 watts of usable. You have the overhead there. It's 1.2 kilowatts. I don't think you're getting to 3 gigahash at all on 1.2 kilowatts. Yeah. You have to go 220, and even then, what was that 2.2 kilowatts? Or wait, that was 22,000. Is that right? Trying to run the math, it's a little hard on the spot. But it's amps times volts. That'll give you an idea. Times 0.8 to give you to give you your kind of overhead. Happy Dictator says you should read the KDA white paper. You'd really enjoy it. All right, we'll do, Happy Dictator. Trent Gidry, thank you for the $5. Scott Schultz says, outside of tech, what's your personal plan for absolute worst case scenario of 80% correction, year long bear market, and merge in June? Are you able to stay afloat with all that gear? 80% correction, I don't know. Is that from here, from now? I was expecting another 50%, and we can stay afloat. The big part for me, of course, how does a miner solve a bear market? They buy more equipment and reduce their power cost. That's it. That's all you can do. So, at the current setup, I can survive it. The goal needs to be that I increase the size enough to compensate. So if the farm is at 5 gigahash now, I really need it at 10 gigahash, right, before a bear. And that's just an example if we were talking about ETH. Obviously, ETH moving proof of stake, that sort of thing. I have to consider other ways to use that power. But that's pretty much how you have to go about it. You have to expand to compensate. And that's what all the big miners are doing as well. So Mention 45 says at Son of a Tech is 6 RTX 37 non-light hash rate with the ASRock H110, blah, blah, blah. Don't really... I never calculate in motherboards, power supplies, or anything like that personally into cost. You're asking if it's worth $7,246. I mean, what? 7,246 divided by 7 or 6. That was wrong. 7,246. I mean, I can already tell you no. Was that $1,200 per 3070? Divided by what? Let's just say divided by 60. $20 per mega hash, dude. In a sideways market. That guy's looking to buy some crack with that $7,000, dude. Stone Muncher says, at Son of a Tech, why are you so low down on your screen? Because I sat down for questions and answers. Nathan Jaworski says, at Son of a Tech, what are your thoughts on crypto browsers like Brave and Decentra? I definitely use Brave. Part of the problem with Brave is it is very resource intensive. So I'm not a big fan from that perspective. A de-Googled Chromium browser is probably my best bet, what I would prefer. But that's kind of my thoughts on it. So, yeah. There you go. We're going to wrap it up today. I'm going to head to Jiu-Jitsu. Hope you guys enjoyed the stream. I'll answer one more question that came in from Nick Daniels, and then we're calling it. At Son of a Tech from Nick Daniels says, what is going to be the best coin that is proof of work to mine after the merge in June? Completely unpredictable. Look, if I give you a coin, that coin will be unmineable. The difficulty will be too high. If I say go mine Flux after the merge and everybody goes and mines Flux, it's not everybody's going to be profitable. If I say go mine Ravencoin and they go mine Ravencoin, it's going to have to be split across multiple coins. End of story at this point. It's the only possible solution to the move to proof of stake from Ethereum. So there you go. Go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe and notification bell to be notified when we go live. We're live every day, 9:45 every Monday through Friday. Excuse me, I take the weekend off. 9:45 a.m. to 10:45 a.m. Central Standard Time. Be sure to tell all your family and friends that are interested in cryptocurrency mining and just cryptocurrency in general. You can follow me on Twitter at Son of a Tech, and that's where I post pretty much all the information, including when I go live, new content releases, and any other information that I find interesting or relevant to cryptocurrency and life in general. I'll see you next Tuesday.